We debuted our 3 products at the stages they were in at the time before our final changes to the rest of our media class and our teacher. It was the first time in which we had seen our film on a large screen that wasn't on a small preview on Adobe Premiere Pro, and so we could see immediately ourselves that the effects were much more noticeable than we thought, and immediately set about our plans for improving these effects later on. Everyone agreed that this worked as a music video and they found it interesting and enigmatic. The audience noticed and appreciated that we kept to the 180-degree rule in our filming, and particularly enjoyed and found interesting the repetition of switching to and from the artists and beat scenes and the past tense narrative. They also enjoyed the present tense narrative, although remaining in the same location, it had a mixture of different shots in it. Some said that the standing in the water while wearing tights looked weird, but others liked this as it displayed an emphasis on the apathetic and despairing nature of the character in the shot, showing that they had lost care. Another constructive criticism was that there were framing issues of the over-the-shoulder shot in the confrontation scene on the path, as it was very left on the camera screen, leaving too much space on the other side. Granted, we could have changed the camera angle and made this less prominent, and it would have worked better, but we were running on the idea that by having the shot that was not focused on the middle, more attention may actually be effectively drawn to the character's face and emotions. The feedback that we learnt from and acted upon included the idea of adding some titles, such as at the end or beginning of the album and the artist's name. We already had a slight introduction with the writing in the sand of the lyrics "Roses are Red" at the beginning, so we decided to break conventions and place a simply texted title at the end. Another good suggestion that we benefited from was the idea of editing the masked vignette border. This existed on all of the film, but somebody suggested that to be more effective it should be removed from the narrative part of the film, and only placed on the beat-setting shots in the present tense that were in colour. It was also suggested that we lessen the border, and so when editing we went back and adhered to this by softening the border. Our teacher commented that he would have liked more of the shots of the artist with guitar, which shows at the beginning. However, it was too late to refilm, and our film could get away with not having these extra shots, but it was a note for what we would change if we were to do this again. We got away without this additional footage, as it would be what the audience would expect to see more of, and by not doing so we challenged conventions, and it also works as an introduction. It was said that the beginning narrative story shots of walking to the room, etc. were later repeated, creating a possible continuity problem. We looked into this and saw that the main problem was that the storyline was too subtle, so we tried sorting this out by moving a few shots around to make the story flow clearer and by consulting our storyboards. The feedback that we received for the DVD cover was as follows. Although people liked the intricate detail of the artwork and the way in which the product linked with the magazine advert, but we received some constructive criticism which was much needed, and we also learned from this. There was a problem with the unclear text, as this all needed to be very bold and recognisable. An offered solution was to lower and fade the opacity of the background picture. When re-editing, we went back and faded the opacity and colour so that the text instantly jumped out. The font and positioning of the text also needed repositioning and adjusting. We followed this through and also put a red font on to stand out with the black and white text. The vignette to link in with the magazine article and video didn't fit on the DVD cover, both physically and it didn't really look right. They wanted the artist's picture changed to a rose, as it looked randomly placed, and we agreed and changed this to a rose that was held by the birds on the back of the DVD cover and also on the magazine advert. This linked the products again and made the album title recognisable on the DVD spine by the rose picture. We adhered to the want for more colour to make the cover less cold by having the 2 birds hold a rose in their beaks and place some of the font in red. As for the magazine advert, feedback people thought that the dark font we used was clear on top of the background, as it was more readable than on the DVD cover. They liked it as it linked in with the DVD cover and was recognisable from it as a product for the same artist. It was agreed that the ratio definitely needed adjusting, as it was a square shape it needed to be A4 shaped and look strange with that layout. A rose in colour was wanted, so we added in rose to be held by the 2 birds, in the same way as on the DVD cover. It's normal to have a DVD cover image of the DVD advertising on the magazine poster. Someone said we needed this. However, as our 2 products have very similar backgrounds, they were recognisable from one another, so they were not recognisable from one another. So not only does the DVD product not need advertising on the magazine advert, but it wouldn't work as it would not be distinguishable on a similar background. Instead, I thought we could just advertise some form of tagline text saying that the DVD was out now, to remind people to buy it and to advertise it in the same way as an image on the DVD would. The positioning of text and quotes needed changing as well, as the actual quote itself, as the advert seemed to be missing something. We changed all of these things, and when the proper ratio size was used, the advert seemed to work much better. The vignette was suggested on the advert as it would look clearer on it than on the DVD cover, and would link the advert to the music video.